This week, let's look at the leadership in this country and how America's leadership is failing the middle and lower class. First off, let's start about housing. We are seeing record number of family homes being absorbed by faceless corporations like BlackRock and Vanguard. You may have never heard of these companies because they like to fly under the radar. They have a hand in almost every industry, from baby formula to the drugs you take to the shirts you wear on your back. These corporations are buying up family homes and sometimes buying up entire zip codes just to turn them into rental properties. And that is because right now the housing market is so out of whack that they are making profit off of it. And it's better because it's a long-term investment, because that payment is going to get paid for by renters. They're trying to make renters out of the next generation, out of me and you, so we can never climb the social ladder. Because if we are constantly paying for rent, we can never save up to buy an actual house, to actually accrue assets, working 3 jobs a day just to afford a home. And that is what they like. They like to keep us in control. Same with family farms. We are seeing numerous family farms being bought up because they can control us that way. They can control the price of your groceries and keep us in line, keep you from saving money. Bill Gates is one of the biggest farmland owners in this country, owning 269,000 acres of farmland. Do you think he likes farming? No, he's doing it because it is the next investment. It is the next way to rake in massive amounts of profit. Because everyone needs to eat, just like everyone needs a place to stay. It is forever demand and never too much supply. Same with, we are seeing record inflation, mostly in the energy sector. That is because oil companies are not drilling for more oil. Instead, they are lowering supply to a point where supply does not equate to demand. Demand is too much, and they are not pumping it because they want to keep in raking profits. We saw them rake in record profits just this year, and they're going to continue doing that until our leadership finally does something. But they won't, because they are paid off by these companies. Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. 64% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. That is ludicrous. Almost 2/3 of Americans, and vast majority of them, have less than $2,000 to their name. What happens if we enter a recession, which we are heading towards? And I would say most likely a depression. What happens to their homes? What happens to their cars? What happens to everything they have on loan? It will get foreclosed on, and these companies are salivating at the idea for that, because that means they can buy houses for pennies on the dollar. They can get your car and resell them for pennies on the dollar. This is what they like. We are entering late stage capitalism. You may have heard that term referred to the 1920s, because that's what they did. Big tycoons and millionaires did just that. They raked in as much profit as they can at the expense of the American people. And what did we see? We saw a depression. And by looking at history, I can see that we may be heading towards that same place. History may not repeat itself, but it does rhyme. And that is what I am seeing. And do you expect the Senate to help us out? Because as I looked into the Senate, majority of them, I would say 90% of them are multimillionaires. Do you think they are going to tax the rich? No, because then they would be taxing themselves. Do you think they're going to have our taxes actually work for us? Like building a better education system, putting better roads out there, or maybe even subsidizing healthcare? No, they are not going to do that, because that is not what corporations want. Going back to the net worth of these senators, when I was looking into them, I saw something very troubling. Their net wealth is going down. Well, we know this isn't true because when you look at their 13F filings for the stock market, they are making record. They are beating out the S&P 500. So how is their net worth going down? It's because they are starting to hide their money. They're starting to get smart on how to hide their money so it looks like they are poorer than they actually are, which goes well for PR. And that is where these billionaires and millionaires are out of touch with me and you. The only way we can fix it is by going to the polls. And that may discourage many of you because of what is happening in our electoral system. But if we start voting for where the person comes from and their history, rather than what party they are from, we will see a massive change in this country. Because if they come from the middle class and they have a history of helping the middle class, you know they are sincere on helping the middle class. Rather than seeing these multimillionaires who live out of the state coming back to the state to run for office. They don't actually care about me and you. They just want to make sure they don't get taxed. Just like the women's suffrage movement in the 1900s or the civil rights movement in the 60s. It took time. It took struggle. But in the end, they prevailed. And if the middle class and lower class locks arms together, we can prevail to make a change in this country. So we stop letting people who are born with silver spoons in their mouths and given everything in life from running our lives, who do not know the hardship that we go through. So that is why this November you need to go out and vote. Look at the candidate. And some people may say it is not worth voting for independents because they won't win. That is not true. They may not win, but it sends a message to this two-party system that the American people are fed up and we want a different choice. So go out and vote. Make your voices heard. That is what I have for you this week. Thank you very much.